Hey, it's Jag. What plan?
Yeah.
So normally, I don't script out my videos. Once in a while, I will do some bullet points of what I'm going to cover in a video. But usually, I've had a week or so to think about what I'm going to do, and I have it up here. I know more or less what I'm going to do. That is not happening today. I did have a plan for what I was going to do today. But some things have changed. We're getting the electrical finally done. You can see the new panel is here. I'm not using that old push button panel. Several people pointed out that those push button breakers are really difficult to get. And I did some looking. You can get them, but they're massively expensive. So that panel just isn't going to get used out here. So the electricians have brought a new panel in. I'm happy about it. It's much bigger, got a lot more spaces, and I'm going to be able to add circuits if I need to. I probably won't. You can also see they're running some plugs here. So I'm going to have overall four outlet boxes along the back here for 120 volt. And I'm also going to have a 220 for the table saw over there and a 220 up in the upper corner over here for my heater. Right now I have a little electric heater that should be good enough for this room, but if it's not, I can put a bigger one up there eventually. This has been a thing that was supposed to happen this week, but earlier. But due to circumstances, the electricians couldn't get here till a couple of days later from when we thought they would be here. So that's continued into my shooting days. So that is hopefully going to get done today, or it's a Friday. If it's not done today, it will be finished on Monday, but they're going to be in and out doing that. I don't, I've had to sort of change my plan. And for this video, I'm just going off the cuff. Whatever I can do, and I will hopefully get something interesting and edit this together. This is, after all, a series about shop remodeling. What my plan had been was to sand down this workbench top that I laminated a week or so ago. It is a little uneven, so I do want to sand it, level it out a bit. Like I say, I'm not looking for it to be perfect. So I should be able to get that done today. And then I have various other things that I do want to do out here, and I can probably squeeze some of them in. I have my old rack for my pipe clamps and my F-style clamps. I had those and had put them aside because I was going to make new ones. But they work well enough for now. So I put them back up here, put my clamps in them. The tool wall will go a little bit more in toward the back of the shop. So where those clamps end over there, the tool wall will be over here somewhere. I've got my other clamp sort of shelf that's always been there up above that. That will get moved, and maybe the F-style clamps will get moved up over above the pipe clamps, just to give me room for when I build the tool wall. We'll see what happens. So I don't think I'll get any of that taken down today. Like I say, no real plan for this video. I'm just going to start with sanding down the top for this workbench. Once that's done, I've got some Danish oil that's sort of on its last legs. I'll probably do Danish oil on top. I'm not going to fill any of these holes for now. If they bug me down the road, I will plug them. But I think it's going to be okay for now. So on with it. Okay, I've got this top sanded down to where I like it. Like I say, not perfectly flat. There's some swirl marks and stuff, but overall it's smooth and feels good. It'll be good to work on. I have a very old can of Watco Danish oil. It's probably ready for the bin, but I'm going to just use what little bit I've got in here just to do the top. I'm not going to do the sides or anything, just to kind of, I guess, seal it and do whatever it does. Mostly I just want to use this up. Well, I'm pretty happy with how this has turned out. I've got it sanded all nice and smooth. It feels really good. I've got the Danish oil on it, used it all up. It dried for about an hour or so, then I wiped it down and I used the last of the oil to do a sort of second coat, and that sat for another hour or so, and I've just come out and wiped it down now, and this is ready to use. I'm very happy with how this has turned out. It's, like I say, over 50 years old, and I think it's ready to work for another 50 years. I do have one spot here where it didn't join up too well. There's just a very small gap up there, and I'm not worrying about it. It's just shop furniture at the end of the day. So we're good to go. I'm not sure what else I can do today. Things are a little bit in flux right now. But I do want to try and get some of this done. I'm trying to stick to my my schedule of having this shop renovation done by the beginning of November. It's the beginning of October right now. The electrical is still same day, so still ongoing there. Probably not going to be done for another day or two. What I think I'm going to do, I have this small bench vise that I've been meaning to put up somewhere for a long time. So I guess now is as good a time as any. So I'm going to see what I can do about mounting this vise. I think I'm going to put it right over here on the left side of the bench. Makes sense for me. I tend to work this way, not this way, so it wouldn't be as usable down here. And on the ends, I don't want to put a small vise like this. I may put a Moxon vise or some kind of end vise on one end or the other at some point. So I think what I'll do is mount this. The first thing I'm going to do is, the first thing I'm going to need to do is make a spacer, because the tabletop does overlap here at least, well, probably pretty close to 1.5 inches, maybe 1 3/4 inches. So this can't just be mounted straight in there. And I also want the top of the jaws to be flush with the tabletop. So first thing I'm going to do is take this back plate off, figure out what I need to do for a spacer, make that, and then we'll get this put on the bench. I needed a spacer 1 11/16 inch deep, and I just went through my scraps, and I had a couple scraps of wood from the countertops I did in our kitchen recently that are about 3/4 of an inch-ish thick. And I also had a leftover offcut of a veneer that I had made of the same stuff, the butcher block. And I put those all together, and they came out to exactly 1 11/16. So perfect for the depth I need for the spacer. The spacer needs to be 2 3/16 inch high to fit on the back of the vise. It needs to be 6 7/16 of an inch wide. So I'm just I glued up these pieces just using some thick CA glue and accelerator, and made a decent block out of it. I'm just going to trim it to the size I need. We'll mount it on this back plate, and then drill the holes for the screw and the rods, and we'll get this mounted up on the bench. Rather than get all wound out about measurements on the size for the spacer that I needed to make and the wood plates to put on the jaws so that we don't have metal going against wood when I use this. I just kind of snuck up on everything. I had these wood jaw plates already on this, and I had just cut them up real quick one time when I was using this, but I thought I'd just cut them and make them fit a little more precisely in the jaws. So those are fitting good right now. Those will get screwed back on once I'm ready to put this back together. For the spacer, I was thinking about it backwards. I was thinking that I needed this height here, and what I needed was a spacer to go from the support under the tabletop and to bring this down so it would be level with the tabletop. So it ended up being probably 1.5 inches deep, a little under that. I think it's 1 7/16 deep. And the thickness is just a little bit under 1 inch, if I recall correctly. It was almost 13/16, or about 7/8 of an inch. When I put it on the this back jaw and put it under here, it fits perfectly for mounting this this vise. So that's kind of the next thing I'm ready to do, is mount the vise on here. So I'll get set up and we'll do that. It's been a fairly disjointed day's worth of work. Like I said, all the plans went out the window when the electrical ended up having to push into my shooting day. It is all in here. The cabling is all ready to hook up. They just have to come Monday. I think they final run the cable and we'll do the hookup. So I've got the new panel in, as I showed you earlier. We've got 4 drops right here, or 3 drops right here. There'll be another one over closer to where my dust collector is right now, a little farther down to the end of this bench. It may actually go here. That wouldn't be a problem to have all 4 of them right here. This is kind of where my spindle sander will go here. The miter saw will go here, my planer will go up here, my drill press will be over here, and my bandsaw will be over in this area somewhere. So this is going to be the tool workstation here. So if all of these outlets end up being sort of bunched in this one space here, I think that's going to work out just fine. I have lots of room to put extra breakers on. I can run extra plugins if I want. I did say when we were planning this with the electricians that I didn't want them to put any new power over on the other side of the shop. The part that's usually to my right, has been to my right up till now, will be behind me after this. I didn't want anything put there because I don't like to, I'm intending to work facing this wall, and I don't like to have the cables all dragging out behind me and plugged in behind me. So everything can plug in here, and I will be facing this way. So all of the power cables and things will go off the edge of the bench, or will be behind the tools that are on this counter. So I'm good with that. One thing I was saying a couple of videos ago, that I was thinking about cutting this countertop. Well, first of all, cutting it down from 30 inches. And I was also thinking of cutting it in the middle here and lowering it to put the miter saw in. I've changed my mind about that for 2 reasons. Number one, I have a sliding miter saw. If I cut this down to 24 inches, the miter saw is going to stick out here. By leaving this length, I can put the miter saw in, and it only sticks out 2 or 3 inches here when it's in working position. I can also slide it back when I'm not using it, and that will be fine. And I'm just going to make some sort of standoff type stands that will can go down and hold up long stock. This is just one I jerry-rigged just to see how it would work, and this works really well. It's the same height as the bed of the miter saw. So I just wanted to see how that would work. I mocked it up out of scrap wood, and so now I'm going to make some better ones of these that I can just put underneath my my long stock when I need, and that way I've got these spaces for things like I say for my sander and my planer. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the lathe. I'm sort of thinking about getting rid of it, just moving it on. I have had that lathe for at least 8 years, and I literally turned it on once just to make sure it works. It's kind of bugging me. I'll probably move it on and then right away find a use for it, although I'm not really into wood turning. Maybe I can put the money into a jointer or something. I'm not sure I want to really bring another tool in here, another big tool. It's limited on space, and joining on the table saw works really well. So anyway, that's those things. I'm really happy with how this old workbench, kind of updating it and refurbishing it, has worked out. It's nice and smooth, pretty flat, not perfectly flat, and I didn't, like I've said many times, I don't want it perfectly flat. Remembering that I had this vise was awesome, because I've wanted to put that vise on a bench somewhere, so I had a vise that I could use easily. It's a small vise. It's about 6 inches wide, but it'll work for most of what I'm doing. As compared to, I've been using my clamps to clamp things down when I'm working on them, and those can kind of tend to get in the way. So I'm really glad to have this here. Like I say, probably we'll put an end vise or some sort of faux moccasin vise or something on the end here at some point as well, not as part of all of this. So this has turned out well. Doing that Danish oil on here has made it look nice. I am liking that I put these racks back up, and I think they will stay there. Most of the time, this bench will be out in front of me here when I'm working in this area here. So that will be open. All of this space. Like I said, since we don't have the power panel up there, I'll probably move my rack for my F-clamps up here, and then the tool wall will kind of start here and go over that way once I get rid of these shelves, which are really just my wood storage right now. Speaking of my wood storage, I think the next thing I will be doing is putting up my wood storage on the other side, so that I can tear this down and have this whole space for tool wall, and my tool cabinet will go down there. So I'll have tool wall for about 8 feet in here, cabinet and that kind of thing over there, and then all of my measuring tools, the tools I use regularly, all those kinds of things will be on this tool wall up here. I am not planning on doing a French cleat kind of system. I'm just going to put a wall up that looks nice, and then I can mount my holders right to that. So I'm not planning on doing any sort of French cleat. I might do a couple little French cleat holders. It's a work in progress. Really, at the end of the day, what I want is the stuff that I use regularly to be accessible behind me. So over here, I do have some wood storage up there and there already. These are things I just kind of threw up spur of the moment when I needed them. So my plan is, once the electrical's all done, I'll take the hammers and saws and tools down from here. I will move my my tool cabinet out, because I think I'm going to probably put my bandsaw, My drill press will probably stay here. I'll probably move my bandsaw in beside that. So I want to know how much wall space I have for putting my storage, and then I'll put my wood storage probably up about this high and go up maybe up to about maybe about as high as this one is. I'll keep the stuff I need access to regularly down low, and I can put stuff like this. I've got some nice figured maple, and I've got some walnut, and I've got some other things up there that I don't need to get at all the time, and that will be where I keep sort of my special wood, and then the wood that I work with a lot will be down here. So I'm thinking that's probably what I'll do in the next video, is just start dealing with what I'm doing with this wall. Once I get all the wood storage from over here moved out, then the next thing I will do is take that down. I'm going to have to close in the wall to the other side of the garage there when that's done. And then at that point, hopefully I can start working on the tool wall and get that done relatively quickly. I'm not looking for something super fancy, or it just needs to be functional and look decent. So that's kind of a bit of the mid-rebuild sort of planning and discussion of what I'm doing. But that is all the time I have for today. Like I say, kind of a really discombobulated day. Hopefully, after they get the electrical done, I can start doing some more focused things out here and get this done. I am shooting for getting it done by early November, mid-November at the latest. It'll start getting pretty cold, although now I can have some heat in here with electrical put out here. So I can probably work a little later, but I do recognize that I have that bass preamp I started on, and it's pretty close to done. 2, maybe 3 more episodes for that, and a few people have commented on it recently, and I do promise I'm getting back to that. I will have that done. I'm shooting for having it done by Christmas time, and then we'll see what we're doing after that. So like always, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Check my band One Soul Thrust. As always, the links are in the description below, and until the next video, we'll see you.